Get 45 minutes in.
Good job you actually reminded me there, Dan. I did forget. Seriously. Jesus Christ.
That was not good.
Yeah, we had James Hollinshead on last, Evan, and he got a bit deep and a bit personal, and we forgot to press record.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's in, Max Muscle. Ozzy, I did look for my Boston Mass t-shirt.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
You're still a handsome bastard, ain't you?
Yeah, you know, I'm working on it. I got to get some Botox and some fillers. That shit's crazy.
Ozzy is definitely had a hair transplant. He had no hair last time I saw him. So
are you shitting me? Look at that.
He's had a hair transplant to Seabum in East Valley. Yeah.
I'm going over to Turkey.
Did you do it, Jose?
No.
I feel like everybody's doing that now.
They are. I just can't. I can't afford.
I definitely need one.
My daughter said I would look stupid with hair, so don't get any hair. So we know who's the boss, so I didn't get any. So yeah, it's pretty cheap now, Jose. It's like $1,000.
No. Maybe it's $1,000 once you get there.
You can get it cheaper than that now. They start taking it from your ass.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Smelly hair.
Jose, by the way, I'm Dan. Hi. We have met on another podcast called Factories.
I remember you.
So
you're pale nasty.
I'm blushing now. Okay, welcome back to another episode of 100% or Nothing podcast. This is episode 6. We did check, so it is a real thing. Today, we are blessed with a Christmas special, or New Year's Eve special, because we didn't actually do it before Christmas. But we have the usual squad joined today by the legendary Evan and Jose, the Boston Mass. Yeah. Evan, what's your, do you have a nickname?
It's just Evan.
Evan, you have one. Hold on. Evan has the ox, and I actually want to ask this question. So where did the ox come from, Evan?
Over the years,
trying to avoid that one?
Everybody tried, a nickname, coming up with something. And when I first signed with Animal, they asked if I had any type of nickname. Like, they were funny back then. They didn't really want to use actual names. Even when you look back at Animal's advertising early on, they didn't really show people's faces. So they asked if I had a nickname, and I was like, not really. But, my uncle used to call me the Ox, just not even from working out, just from being a young, when I was young and big and overweight, he'd be like, you big Ox. That's the only thing I could think of. So they ended up using it, and I guess it kind of stuck. But, an ox is like a big, smelly, ugly animal.
Yeah, it's big and powerful, isn't it? So I guess it translates well to the bodybuilding thing. Jose is pretty cool anyway, that there's the Boston Mass. I always try to persuade you to bring a weight gainer out, Jose, if you remember, the Boston Mass weight gainer powder, but you never did it, and you never made $1 million, so never mind.
No.
You also tried to call me the Bristol Mass. That never really caught on.
Yeah, we won't go into my nickname when I was sponsored. It's pathetic, so we'll leave that.
Celine Dion, that's what I heard it was.
Yeah, okay, Dan. We'll just swiftly move forward. Just quickly, gents, obviously, we always say this on our podcast because, if you're following the 100% or Nothing podcast, you guys, the guys at home will know who you guys are, so we're not going to go back to the kind of tell us about yourself, all that kind of stuff. Our audience will know who you guys are, but you've both been very quiet, obviously, retiring from the stage as such. So we'll go out with Evan first. So what have you been up to, Evan? Obviously, I follow your page and stuff and things on Instagram, but some of the guys at home might not know what you've been up to since you stepped off the stage. If you want to fill us in.
Yeah. So amazingly, still continued my relationship with Animal. We're entering year number 17 this year. I haven't mentioned anything publicly, but literally just yesterday signed up for another year with them, which is pretty crazy. 17 years with one company in the bodybuilding industry. That's that's like 40 years in the real world.
Yeah, it's very rare these days, isn't it? Very rare.
Yeah, I'm really thankful for them to have me, and it's a relationship I'm really, really proud of. I know a lot of, the mindset nowadays, whether it's in the bodybuilding industry or outside of it, It's to not stay with one company too long. It's like, okay, be someplace and then move on. But you know, having been there for a long time and having built that relationship, that's something I'm extremely proud of.
Yeah, that is pretty
I,
cool.
I remember the shots for Animal that had you in, and the way they captured like the feeling of some of my like my favorite shots in bodybuilding. It's all very well looking at stage shots and everything like that, but they managed to capture some images specifically of you that like really harnessed like the vision of what it was about. I really related to that. Those are some of my favorite things then.
Let me ask you guys a question. I'm curious to hear your opinion on this. Um, do you think that those images still relate to the newer audience in bodybuilding or in the industry? Do you think they would still find those images interesting or inspiring, or do you think things have changed?
You want to tackle that one, Dan, or shall I go first?
I think you should go.
I think we all know that the kind of hardcore audience is getting a little bit smaller and smaller and smaller, and companies are using like more influencers with nice asses and stuff. And you know, I get it, it's sex sells and all that stuff, but it is very rare you see kind of ads now with somebody like we're talking about the Brian Moss kind of black and whites, aren't we here, Dan? Yeah.
Yeah.
The icon in like big forearm veins and stuff. It's not really used as much now, is it? Unfortunately, I mean, I'm saying unfortunately, it's just different time, but I still like the old school kind of. This is what this channel's about. This is why we want to get you guys on. You know, somebody benching, incline pressing like 200-pound dumbbells or something like that. You don't see ads like that anymore. It's just kind of everybody's got nice teeth and nice hair and stuff, and you know the deal, guys. It's just changed now, hasn't it? So, what do you think, Leroy? It's like you're from the old school. I mean,
it scares them, don't it? They open the page and they say they're doing a 5 or 6 plate squat. It scares them. It scares these young wannabes because it's fucking hard work, isn't it? They've got to actually train hard to be able to do that. So they won't relate with it. So they'd rather turn the page. They don't want to relate to it, mate, unfortunately.
Yeah, we need to bring Chris Lund back when he used to make people squat like 5, 6 plates and bench 4 plates when they're like 3 days post contest.
But you know what's interesting though? Like, and granted, I don't follow him, so I'm not really educated. I'm not too familiar, but I know that this kid Sam Sulek has become something of a phenomenon, and has a really large following. And his content that he puts out, at least from what I've seen, it seems fairly raw. And he's very young, but he's very muscular for a kid his age. And considering his popularity, it almost makes me wonder, is there still a market for that type of thing?
Yeah, I think maybe the last year or so we have saw a little bit of turn of the tide, just a touch, haven't we? Maybe that's what we've been hoping for anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do follow Sam. It's just very raw, kind of everyday, nothing fancy, no bells and whistles, and I do like the guy. I know he's been getting some slack from some of the influencers saying what he's doing is not great and not healthy. And I saw Eddie Abu on him now, Dan. Eddie's slamming him for drinking chocolate milk and stuff and whatever. But didn't everybody used to do that anyway years ago when you were younger? Like even if you're not a bodybuilder, you used to eat cereal and chocolate milk and stuff. And is it that big of a big deal? I don't know. What did you used to eat, Jose, when you were coming up as a young bodybuilder? Because you've been doing it forever, haven't you? Like when did you start training, Jose? It was teens, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the 80s. I was trained in the 80s, and I ate whatever I could get. I didn't.
Yeah, I'm sure you weren't weighing your chicken out and like eating. Well,
No.
cream of rice wasn't around then, but you know, she was just shoveling everything like I used to type of thing when I first got started, I guess.
Dude, I would eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I would eat whatever I could get my hands on. I didn't have the luxury of having a whole lot of food, so I would eat whatever was there. But regarding what Evan was asking, where would you see these ads anyway today? There's no magazines. There's no place to even have those ads. What, on Instagram? They're gonna put ads on Instagram. So anyone that's hardcore and loves bodybuilding is gonna love those pictures. You know, it resonates with anyone that's a bodybuilder. Those pictures of you, Evan, of Frank McGrath. I saw one the other day you posted with who's the kid with the huge calves?
Yeah,
Fankhauser, that's
Eric.
right.
Mm.
So, you know, those pictures are awesome, but it's just like, you're not going to sit down while you're taking a shit, watching looking at the magazines anymore. There's no such thing. But those ads are awesome to this day. I see them and I'm like, still like, those are awesome. They look great. And I think any young bodybuilder would love them. There's just unfortunately nowhere to see it other than scrolling Instagram.
Mm. And they're not spending enough time like absorbing it. This is the same with music or whatever. They're just flicking to the next, to the next. Like, whereas you look at that photo, and a lot of those photos weren't actually even the lifts. It was like sat down like between, and you're like, I know that zone. But in a scroll situation, you're right. You wouldn't delve in enough, would you?
No.
Yeah, that's your mission, Dan. You're gonna repost all of those pictures on the 100% or nothing.
I think I should.
Page.
I think I should.
Definitely.
Are we allowed to do that?
Yeah, I think yes.
Right.
Is Brian still around? Is he still going, Brian Moss?
Yeah, Brian's still around, and you know, Brian is one of, I don't know, he's like a gem in the bodybuilding industry. He's been around so long, and I mean, having been on different sides of the industry as a gym owner, as a photographer, working for the magazines, you know, having a wife who was herself a professional bodybuilder. He knows so much about the sport, and his taste and his style is something that's really unique. And I don't know, he's somebody who probably isn't visible enough. I feel like the industry, like with Brian's influence in it, is just a better industry. And I think that this always happens in every industry. Something will be cool, something will be popular, and then it kind of, not that it goes out of style, but people stop looking at it, and then all of a sudden somebody rediscovers it, and then it's popular again. And I feel like Brian's stuff, and I don't say it because it's me. It could be any of the subjects that he's shot over the years, you know, both literally and figuratively through his lens. It's really, really cool stuff, and I feel like that the younger generation, it's not that it doesn't resonate with them or they don't find it interesting. I think maybe sometimes they're just not aware of it.
Yeah. Did you ever do any Brian Moss shoots, Jose?
I did not. I know who he is. I've met him. He was always a cool guy, kind of like I don't know how I would describe it, but he dressed different than everyone else. He always had like black combat boots on and stuff. That's the guy I'm thinking about, right, Evan?
Yeah, awesome guy. He's building a cabin in upstate New York, or is it maybe like the Hudson River Valley? I'm not sure exactly, but he plans to just go up there and live. Kind of, it's a little bit far out, but he's such an interesting dude, and we keep in contact. He's really, like, literally one of my favorite people in the industry, and I don't know, I've been fortunate to shoot with a few different photographers over the years, and I think Brian is easily the most talented.
Very artistic.
His stuff's very cool. So what have you been doing with yourself, Raimondo?
I've been living the dream, buddy. I'm doing the same shit I've always been doing, training people, helping people get ready for competition, and doing shit around my house. I'm a pretty simple guy. I don't stray too far from what I do. I've been really active. You don't see me much, but I'm not a huge social media guy, but I go to every show. I was at the Nationals. I'm at the Olympia. I'm at, you know, every local show. I judge locally, and I travel to a lot of shows, more than I should. It gets costly after a while, but yeah, I'm still there, still around, very active.
I know you were speaking about a gym like some years back, and I know you had some issues with the partner you partnered up with, etc. Is that kind of put to sleep now? Have you still got that on the back burner? Are you still thinking of a gym, or?
Well, I always think of it, but for now, it's definitely on the back burner. There's a gym every block here. There's a million gyms, and it's pretty competitive. And real estate here is ridiculous, so it's a pretty risky proposition to do it. But my buddy opened a gym in downtown Boston, and I'm there every day, and it's pretty awesome. He's got great equipment, and it's small, and it's designed just for trainers. You can either buy a day pass, or you go in there to train someone, or you train yourself. That's it. There's no memberships, and it's very successful. It's a really non-traditional business plan, but it's working.
Is it called the gym hub or something like that? Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. It's got some nice old school equipment and stuff in there, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's only 7,000 square feet, and he got a great deal on the space. And people travel on the weekends to come train with me or come train, and we do some seminars in there, some posing workshops and shit, and it's been really good. It's a great energy in there because you're only there to train. It's not like a big chain gym where people are hanging out, looking at chicks. It's you come there, you pay your money, you train and get out.
Well, Leroy, we're going to have to visit that place. It's one of the
you'd love it.
The gym's gym.
We still got to get Evan up there.
Yeah, I still haven't been there. I'd love to see it.
How far away are you from each other?
About 2.5 hours.
Well, that's sofa change in America, isn't it?
That's 2.5 hours with zero traffic.
With zero traffic, correct.
Yeah, if you don't have to piss too. I always plan for 3 hours to get down there.
Yeah, we
like
drove
saying
last time.
Manhattan people, they say it's like 3.5 hours to Manhattan. I've never done it in under 5.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even attempt to drive in the States, to be honest.
You can't drive.
Yeah, everybody gives me that, Jose. I can. I've got a license. But I can't
He's allowed. He's allowed to.
Yeah, I'm allowed
he
to.
Shouldn't
drive,
be.
So. Yeah, if you've been in the car with me,
Part of the direction he's got to
yeah.
go, and that's it. You just hope he gets there.
Yeah, my pickup's got quite a few scrapes on it and stuff. So yeah, we'll leave that one alone. Oh god.
Not as bad as my one. I'll just add.
Oh yeah, Leroy just crashed into a tree. The tree's all right, so it's like everything's
Tree's
fine.
all right. Tree's demolished now. It's gone.
Yeah.
I thought you two were training today, Leroy.
Tomorrow. No,
That's
not tomorrow. Saturday.
Okay.
We're going to try and attempt to match some form of workout, because we're kind of both falling apart at the moment. So we're just getting a little bit advanced in years, unfortunately, and the body kind of says no. So we'll see how it goes, Leroy.
It's called maturing, isn't it? Maturing.
That's the nice. Getting more advanced. Right, gents, we've got a bunch of questions. So do you mind if we just jam into the questions and
let's do it?
The IG squad happy. Dan, do you want to go with yours first, or do you want to?
Yeah, I'll go with one. I'll go with one. One's from Adam Ledner. So thanks for tuning in. It said that you struggled with your weight in your teens, reaching 220 pounds at 12. I don't know whether that's accurate.
Yep.
You lost 80 pounds through running before taking up weights. The question is, knowing what you know now, would you have lost the weight differently?
Yeah, I mean, back then when I did it, now keep in mind, when I started out, it was never my goal to become a bodybuilder. I was somebody who just his whole life wanted to just be thin, be skinny, and just not be fat. So when I started, making myself run, I was pretty much just starving myself. So I'm sure I lost quite a bit of muscle in the process, but amazingly, it was still fairly muscular when I had lost all that weight. But knowing what I know now, yeah, I could have done it totally different, and I'm sure preserved a lot of muscle. Because when I was really young, I was exceptionally strong. I had a cousin who lived next door. He was 5 years older than me, and if we were wrestling or fighting, it would take 3 of his friends to bring me down. And then when I started losing weight, things started to kind of level off. So I think I probably in hindsight, missed out on a lot of natural growth in my teen years because I was kind of starving myself. So yeah, I would have done it differently for sure.
Were you doing any like resistance training or anything else, or was just like just running?
Yeah, I mean, maybe to some degree I had to just kind of get some of that weight off. So I don't think, I mean, it's so funny because the thought of running now is like so foreign to me. But I think some running would have been good, just maybe not to the extent that I did it. And maybe, a lot of it on the nutrition side of things, I could have eaten in a way that was a lot more intelligent rather than just starving myself.
Well, I guess you just didn't know. I mean, it worked, just not. Could have been a little bit better, I suppose. But as well, you starting out like that, like you didn't have Instagram, like or anything like that. Even when I like started, there wasn't really like any way you could get the info of how to do it better. You're just like, well, move more and be hungry a lot, and something will happen.
Which is an interesting point because nowadays there's so much information that you sit there, I think, wondering, or the younger guys will sit there and wonder what the right thing is to do. And the things that we did when we were younger, maybe they weren't the best or they weren't correct, but they did work because we put our full effort and focus into it because that was the only option that we came up with. So we said, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do the best I can with it. And because of that, it worked. But nowadays, there's so many different options that maybe you don't put your full effort into any of them, so then nothing works.
Yeah, it's trial and error. We should try it, and if it didn't work, you tried something else. If that worked, then you made a note of it, and you kept it after. If it's not broken, you don't fix it. But you are right. There's that much information, and you can go to that many places to get information from. You swamp with it. So who knows what's right and what's wrong? You have to know your body to know what's right and what's wrong. So you have to go through the trial and error with all the information that's given you.
That's right.
Well, I'd say it's like kind of like Netflix now, isn't it? How many people you sit down with the missus and like, what should we watch? And you flick through so much you don't watch fucking anything because you wasted all the time trying to find something.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, there's a lot more information out there, but it's not necessarily better, is it, unfortunately? Sorry, I'm not being rude, gents. I'm looking at the questions on the phone. Here's one for you, Jose, from our good friend Matt Hybrid. What do you consider was your best look competitive-wise, Jose? I think I know you're going to say which one you're going to say here.
That's a matter of opinion. Like, obviously, my best placing was the 2015 Olympia. It was my biggest, hardest, best condition, the best combination of everything. But I think even at that point, I had already started getting too big for my frame. And, if you want to say the best look was probably more like 2013 when I was a little sleeker. My waist was a little tighter. It was just a nicer look. As I got bigger, I was 210 pounds at 5'3" and change. It was, kind of, I've said this a million times. I was 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. It was just started bubbling out a little too much, but it was my best placing. I won the Arnold Classic that year. I won Prague. I did really well that year, but I don't know that it was my best look. But I want to touch quickly on Evan's point with the information. I was very blessed as a teenager. My older brother, who's 6 years older than me, he went to college with Chris Aceto and Jeff King. And you guys know who those guys are. Yeah. Yep. So Chris had helped Jeff, and Jeff had helped my brother. So then my brother would come home from school and he would teach me everything he knew from those guys. So I knew at a very young age, how to diet and how to train and how to do everything. So I had a wealth of knowledge at my fingertips, even as a 14-year-old kid in high school. So when it came to start competing at 18 years old, I already knew how to get in shape and how to prepare for a competition. And, it led to success immediately. So I was really lucky. I didn't have to, I read the magazines and stuff, but I had it right at my fingertips. So it was a pretty great opportunity. And now today I'm still good friends with Aceto. And, you know, it's a funny coincidence that, you know, years later, like 20 years later, I would end up working with Chris and he would help me directly. But he didn't know that he made an impact on me even as a teenager.
That's so cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a pretty good combo. Aceto, your brother Tito and Jeff King.
Yeah, Jeff King wrote my brother's very first diet, which was basically
where's Jeff at these days? Where's Jeff at these days? Is he still around or?
I don't know. I know he's around, but I'm not sure.
I just saw Jeff a couple months ago, actually.
Did you in person?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yep. He
still got the neck?
I was literally going to ask that. Has he still got the thick, massive neck? Because that's such a genetic trait, isn't it? That huge neck.
Not like in the past, but you can tell that he was very much somebody who, you know, was a tremendous bodybuilder at one point. Of course, like a lot of guys who have been in it for a long time, he's had some orthopedic obstacles, and you know, his body is, you know, he's feeling it. But man, what a nice guy, and a smart guy too.
Isn't it ironic that he had that neck, and I heard the neck is what took him out. It was a neck injury that wouldn't allow him to compete anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I heard he got in like a car accident and damaged his neck.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah,
even remember.
we should have seen the car.
Well, like Leroy's tree.
Can I repeat the question to Evan?
Yeah. What was it again?
It was just, what do you reckon your best showing was? And I guess it's not necessarily to do with placing, but like just for you personally.
2011 was a good year for me. I won the Flex Pro, and then a few weeks later competed in the Arnold, and that was my first Arnold, and I took fourth. That was a really good look. But I'm going to be honest. When I did my first competition when I was 23, I only was 225 pounds on the dot, and really, really hard. And to this day, that was maybe one of my favorite looks. I was certainly, you know, I couldn't have been competitive as a pro bodybuilder at that size, but I really, really liked that look. If I could go back and do it all over again, I don't know. I feel like maybe sometimes I chased too much size and just going for all-out density and being as streamlined as possible. I think maybe that would have been a more favorable look for my physique.
Isn't it crazy that Jose's literally just said the same thing?
Yeah.
A lot of bodybuilders like Hoops, when they step out, looking back, always say, "Oh, I like the lighter version of myself." Did you kind of, like, for you, example, Jose, did you see that at the time, or is it just now that you've stepped away looking back? Because
no, I knew.
That, like, kind of...
I knew at the time that I couldn't do things that I used to be able to do. But it was the look that was being judged. It was the bigger I got, the better I was placing. So I knew what I had to do, but I knew that I couldn't pull a vacuum like I used to. You know, I would suck it in, and it was more of a mini vacuum, just holding my stomach in rather than literally sucking my stomach up into my chest. And, you know, my waist just wasn't as small as it used to be, but my legs were twice the size that they used to be. And my lats and shoulders were twice the size. So it made up for it as far as the taper. But I knew that wasn't the look that I particularly wanted, but it was a must for me to try to beat Flex, you know, and to beat everyone else. I had to be the biggest in the class, because I wasn't going to be prettier than Flex. I wasn't going to be, you know, I had to be harder and bigger. And that's exactly what I tried to do. And that didn't necessarily make it the best look for me. That's why I say 2013, I was probably 204, 203, and just a much nicer look. And I was really good condition and plenty of size, but it wasn't enough at the time, I guess.
Yeah, you just got to go what they reward, don't you? Even Jay said the same thing, didn't he? To go up against Ronnie, he just had to get bigger he didn't necessarily like the look better, but it was what was getting rewarded. So yeah, I guess you can blame the judges, Ozzy, I guess.
Yeah.
I've got one question for everybody actually, because I know Evan's big on equipment and like old school kit and stuff. And this one for you, Leroy, actually, because you've used plenty of old school kit, especially Temple, etc. So what is your all time favorite piece of gym equipment? Obviously, I know mine.
Hammer seated row.
Yeah, you always want to put like 9 plates on that thing. This one.
Hammer seated row, because when they brought that out, it was needed. You know, they had all these chest machines and shoulder machines and they had everything, but they needed a good back builder for size and strength. And when that came out, it came out on the dot. It came out when it was needed. When it was needed, everything else was getting bigger and rounder and harder, but the backs weren't coming out. And I believe that hammer strength, that type 1 hammer strength seated row is responsible for a lot of good backs out there now. Or well, was responsible.
Is that the one that
yeah, we were blessed to use that a few weeks ago, Dan. I think it's Mark II. I think they had one before that where the plates went this way, and then it's the one that's extremely heavy at the bottom from Temple Gym. We were using that.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
I think because the dumbbells were just getting silly big, weren't they? Using like 200-pound dumbbells.
Yeah, they were getting that long and wide. They were just obstructing. They couldn't move them properly. But that came out. I think, dead on top when everybody needed it, and I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, the hammer row. I actually really like hammer strength for back equipment.
Yeah.
I don't like the new one.
You don't like the new one?
No, I don't like.
I like
new
barbells. Barbells and dumbbells.
You got to pick a piece of equipment, though, Jose.
What?
Yeah, we all love barbells and dumbbells, but you got to pick especially since your guy's got some cool stuff at his gym. There must be one piece that you really like to use.
So we have a whole bunch of them. Of flex leverage. Do you remember that stuff?
Yeah, I love flex stuff. We got some flex stuff.
They got a flex leverage back row, seated row, flex leverage, like the converging pressing, flat bench, the incline bench, a shoulder press. That's one of my favorite lines ever. And I don't know whatever happened to it. I think like StarTac bought it or something, flex leverage, and then they destroyed it.
Yeah,
but
they kind of
that stuff is awesome. Yeah.
Evan?
Geez, it's so hard to pick just one. And I mean, as a line, I was always such a big fan of Body Masters. And of course, Flex had some great stuff over the years. But I don't know. I guess it's kind of odd. I'm going to say the Cybex Hack Squat. I think that was just one of the best pieces of equipment.
Yeah, the Mark One. The new one's not as good. It's kind of always the same. The new ones kind of get commercialized and they don't feel the same, do they, for some reason?
Cybex really got that hack squat right. It's not an easy hack squat. It's heavy. The angle on the plate is just right. And I don't know, something about it. I guess if I was going to pick one piece of equipment, that's definitely one of my favorites.
I was told Cybex have actually discontinued manufacture completely now. I don't know if it's going to come back or rebrand or something. Or yeah, I had a feeling you would say Cybex hack for some reason, Evan, because I know you've got one in your home gym, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when you bought it and posted it on Instagram. I was like, yes, Mark One hack.
That thing's beautiful. Like 4 plates is a ton on that. It's heavy as hell.
I've seen Dan doing 7 plates. There's a video of Dan, and his eyeballs literally look like they're going to come out of his head. I'll post that picture up later. Actually, this is horrendous that day.
Yeah, that was a lot of screaming.
Yeah, there's
That's
video
a lot of weight on that machine.
I mean, I would have gone with that. Well, I probably would have gone with that or the Mark One leg press, but I'm sad with the leg press because I tore my adductor on it, and now I'm scared of it, so I don't use it. But I do love the Mark One leg press. Always did until that incident. So again, it's just sometimes the company, they just get it right, and you're like, that hits. and I think everyone's like mechanics are different, and that just did it. Well, didn't do it in the end. It completely ripped me off. But yeah, otherwise I would probably go for the Mark 1 hack.
Yeah,
And
you guys
good for legs, isn't it?
You guys have any Atlantis stuff at your gym?
Yeah, we've got lots of Atlantis hose here. I would say Atlantis is kind of in the middle. Like, it's not like really old school hardcore stuff, but it's not like fully commercialized fancy. They've got some really nice pieces. I think a lot of the machines are quite easy. You got to pile a lot of plates on there and stuff. I see guys like on the, for example, there, like the hack, I can do like 10 plates on the
You can
Atlantis
load
hack.
that.
Yeah,
Whereas that would be like 5 plates. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, they're good machines. I just tend not to like to have machines where you have to pile tons of plates on. It's like a waste of energy, if you
You're
like.
getting lazy in your old age.
Yeah, man, I've got to go around cleaning up people's weights nowadays rather than putting them on there. So
what's yours at?
Come on, Dan, do you really need to ask?
Well, for the audience.
Yes, myself and Leroy will be doing that on Saturday. We're doing back Saturday, Leroy, yeah?
Yeah,
The original Blood and Guts Nautilus pullover is obviously my favourite piece. For a number of reasons. Obviously, I like it as a piece of equipment, but how we kind of acquired it from the original Temple Gym and stuff. And we got lots of collectors after that piece, and we've been offered some crazy money for it, actually, but she's not for sale. Sorry, guys.
Evan sold me one for $800.
But it wasn't the one from Temple Gym, Jose.
It looked just like it.
It's got
has it got Leroy's pubes on it? Embedded into the seat.
Mail me some over, will you?
No, that's my favourite piece. So,
what does everyone think about Prime? Because it was Strive before, wasn't it? It's got like multiple pins and like, it's like a bag for life. Do you know? I don't like to commit to things too much. There's too many pills. There's too many pins.
Oh,
I'm not familiar with it. I'm not familiar with it.
With Prime. Do you know Prime over there?
They're really big machines. They're gigantic. They take up the whole gym.
Yeah, they are big pieces. And I guess I'm not into like fancy kind of equipment, but they are pretty cool, like where you can load each pin for the kind of resistance profile or strength curve, whatever you want to call it. So someone like myself doesn't really like a piece of equipment on a chest press what's heavy at the bottom, because I've had a couple of like a pec tear. So I kind of load it where it's a little bit heavy at the top and stuff. So it is really handy for like injuries and stuff. But yeah, it is really good heavy duty USA grade kind of equipment. It's just, man, the lead time on it now for a piece of Primes, like if I was to order one tomorrow, you're talking like 12, 14 months for one piece of equipment. To be fair, let's get like you say, Jose, if you want to open this gym, you better start planning it now, because it's like 2 years to get some kit. Seriously, it's getting really bad for since COVID. Am I allowed to say that word online anymore? Will we get cancelled?
Yeah, you're gonna get demonetized.
Yeah, we don't try and monetize this channel, Jose. Trust me, it's absolutely pointless at the moment. Dan's horrendous language. Right, let's have a look at some questions. Let's have a look.
I've got one, which, well, I'm going to ask it's not necessarily. If you only had to pick like one intensifier, so like sets that weren't a straight set, would you pick a rest pause set, a cluster, a drop, or a giant set? Jose's looking at me like, fuck off.
Yeah, I don't even like the terminology. Like, what does it mean? What did you say? A back off set or?
Cluster sets new school, isn't it?
Yeah, cluster sets are a new school thing. So the idea is that you basically do a set not to failure, and then wait 10 seconds and do another one, and then do another one, and then you fail on like the last one. It's almost impossible to actually gauge that you'd fail in the right place. So I'm guessing I use a lot
of pause reps. I still do a lot of drop sets. I mean, I still train the same way I always did. It's, just not crazy heavy.
Do you do any supersets?
Yeah, I do supersets. I do triple sets, giant sets. I utilize every tool available. But people are overthinking. I don't like complicating shit too much. Just lift, train, get a pump. That's all I do. I don't have names for shit.
Just go until you can't go, basically.
Right. It
Leroy,
makes me
come
uncomfortable
on.
even hearing that.
I want you to chime in on this one, Leroy, because you make us do like force reps, drop sets,
Forced
static
reps per set.
balls, partials, and it's like, what's your favorite weapon of choice, Davis?
My favorite, it all depends on who I'm training with and their capabilities. I mean, I love them. I obviously love the drop set. I love the force reps, the negative reps, the elongated sets. You know, where we rest and pause for a couple, and we hold it at the positive and lower it down. I love all them. But it all depends on who I'm training with and knowing what they're capable of doing and if it's going to actually benefit them. So yeah, I like the force, the negative, the superset, the drop set. I like all them because all the other stuff that's been it's not broken. So why try and fix it? If you stick to that, then four, you can't go wrong, or you shouldn't go wrong.
Let me rephrase the question for something that offends Jose a little bit less. Do you train beyond failure? Or have you done in the past? Like, let's say you're at your peak. Was that something you were trying to do?
I would train to failure, at least one set per exercise where I couldn't move anymore. And, I had to be helped the last rep or two. But, I mean, what's beyond failure? Failure is failure.
So having someone assist you or maybe doing negatives or something like that.
Yeah, not crazy though. I'd really only go until I can't go anymore. And I mean, I think my body responded well to that.
Well, it definitely.
I didn't get crazy, where, like, you ever see the video of Tom Platz where he's doing the leg extensions and by the end he's just like hopping his body,
And the machine's like moving.
Yeah. I never got to that kind of craziness.
And Evan, for you?
For me, if I'm speaking about myself, I guess at my peak, if I was really trying to push myself the furthest, it was definitely the combination of rest pause with forced reps. If I was, had a partner with me, that was the way that I felt that I was able to really get the most out of it, because my goal would always be to use the maximum amount of weight, but also in a higher rep range. Like when people would say, well, what's more important, heavy weight or high reps? Really, I think the goal was to do both. If you could squat 405 for 10 reps, okay, that's good. But if you can squat 405 for 20, well, that's even better. There's no way you're not going to have decent legs if you can do that. So, if it was me squatting by myself, okay, rest, pause. And then, as I begin to fail, having someone come in and just push me through 3, 4, 5 more than I would have been able to get myself, then that for me was usually the way that I felt I could maximize my training.
Yeah, I remember when I trained legs with you guys and everyone was like, yeah, let's do some leg presses for like 50 reps. I was like, oh, okay.
Whose idea was that? I always wondered who came up with that shit.
Evan
was it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do some safety bar squats for 25. I was like, oh, shit.
Well, just go by the way your legs feel. After a set, as Evan said, after a set of 405 for 10, yeah, you can feel it. But after a set of 405 for 20, your legs are on fire and they feel like they're balloons. I mean, you learn that just through doing it. And it feels better, the pump is better, and you get results better because you're just going to a level. I thought the same thing with bench presses. I would rarely go over 405, but I would often do 315 for 20, 25 reps. And that felt incredible, where my, elbows and shoulders didn't hurt too much and it wasn't too dangerous, but the pump from it was crazy. So I agree with Evan 100% that it's not heavy weight or high reps. It's heavy weight for high reps.
Yeah. Well, and also, I guess not wrecking yourself enough so that you can do it again next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of found out the hard way. That way was the.
Yeah, I must say, yeah, I definitely went more on the heavy side. And now that I've kind of changed into kind of that, it hasn't slowed down like progress. Not that I had groundbreaking progress anyway, but yeah, I think it was based. John Meadows was just like, as long as it's not your cardio that fails, the rep range, like go for it. As long as your muscle fails before your cardio, then you're good. And my elbow said that.
When you look at you know, some athletes, you know, whether they're cyclists or sprinters who compete in short-term events, the duration is relatively short, but they're doing a whole lot more than say 8 or 10 reps, you know, per leg or whatever you want to say, and they're building a lot of muscle. So I think people tend to look at and they say, well, you know, 20 reps or 30 reps, that's a high rep range compared to 8, 10, or 12 reps. Sure, it's high, but I think you can really build a lot of muscle in a, you know, what would be considered traditionally a higher rep range if you have the power to carry some higher weight into that rep range.
Yeah.
That's why I think for a lot of younger guys out there, it's important to build your strength and to build power, even though this isn't powerlifting, because once you have a certain amount of strength, if you can start carrying that into higher reps, then I think you can really build the maximum amount of muscle.
Do you think there's any truth in the kind of saying that, you know, like the physique has more density if it trains in like a lower rep range, or do you think that's a little bit of a myth? I think that's a lot of it's genetic, isn't it, I guess?
I don't know. Tough to say. It does seem that guys who are really powerful do seem to have more density, but I think that just comes from moving heavier weight. I don't necessarily think it's from the lower rep range itself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one that always kind of crops up, isn't it? Like, you know, some guy like Flicks really used to train higher reps, lighter weights. He didn't have that density, whatever. I think that's a lot of the genetic component, isn't it? I think.
But I think
this
if he
one,
was moving heavier weight for higher reps, maybe then
yeah,
you would have seen it.
sure, Flex did okay with the look that he had, didn't he? I suppose. Yeah, this is pretty deep. This one. This is for both you guys, I guess. What would you change in the sport of bodybuilding right now to make it better? That's a very broad question, isn't it? I guess
I would change the judging. Make
Yeah,
it
yeah.
more transparency. I want to know which judge judged who where. I want to know, you know, every judge's score, how they, you know, because there could be a guy that had Lunsford winning, and there could be one that has him 7th. You know, I'm being exaggerating here, but we don't know. And I liked what Tyler's doing, you know, the Monday morning quarterback stuff, where he's doing videos explaining why who placed where. I really like that he's doing that, but I'd like to see more of it. See what judges are judging where, and maybe more judges. You know, so it's not the same judges every year. Because you know, I remember one year Sean Ray complaining about it. If you have the exact same judges judging the exact same bodies every year, you're going to have pretty much the exact same placings. So mix it up a little bit and be transparent about it. Say, this is the judging panel. It's, you know, completely different from last year, and see how it goes. I just like to see more transparency through the judging.
That's good.
I always thought I know the scorecards are always available, but I always thought that information was available if you kind of wanted to access it, who placed who where. So that's not available, Jose, no?
No, it'll say like judge 1, judge 3, judge 4. It never says a name or face behind it.
Interesting. Evan, you got any changes you would like to see on the pro circuit?
I mean, not necessarily in the sport itself, but I mean, when I think about the industry as a whole, when we say bodybuilding, let's just say the whole industry. I mean, I think I hate to sound like I'm old or being nostalgic, but I do think that the industry was better years ago, even back into the 80s. But I think a lot of the reason why it was better is just where we are culturally, just in society. I think a lot of our opinions on masculinity, the role models that we have. I mean, I grew up watching Arnold Schwarzenegger as Predator, as Commando, watching Thundercats and He-Man cartoons, and just our views on masculinity as a society were different. And that influenced me as a kid, and had a large influence on me as a bodybuilder. And I think now we just have, the kids have different role models, different things are in fashion. And I think that carries over into literally the aesthetic of the sport. So I guess when I'm thinking about, like where things have changed, I think for a lot of the time, bodybuilding just, at some point it fell out of fashion. You know, as a kid, I could turn on ESPN and see Lee Haney and Corey Everson performing a workout, and people were actually watching that. No such thing exists like that now, and bodybuilding was cool. Somewhere along the way, it just became where it wasn't cool. And I don't know. I think all fashions, of course, they go in cycles. They go into style, they fall out of style. So maybe it's just cyclical, and it's inevitable that it'll come back. But I don't know. I think a lot of where we are in the sport, just the overall look and feel of it, is just a reflection of where we are as societies.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me growing up who my kind of role models were on the movies and stuff like you see, it would have been like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Van Damme. Yeah. If you ask like I started at 15, so if you asked a 15-year-old now, it would be slightly different, wouldn't it, I guess? It's weird times we're in. And I do remember the ESPN where I was with Sean Ray and Lee Priest in the one-piece spandex and stuff. And yeah,
attitudes are just different.
Yeah.
About everything. You know, you can't even be pro, you know, hey, listen, like I've been to the UK. I love the UK. I expect people who are from the UK to love their country. I love my country, right? I love America. But it's almost like you can't say that. Like you can't feel strongly about things. You can't be passionate about things. You can't be too passionate about being a man, you know, or being too masculine, because then you're sexist or you're a misogynist. You can't feel too strongly about your country, because then you're a nationalist or you're a racist or whatever the case may be. So it's like there's all these different things that I think that have, even the language, you know, George Carlin, there was a skit where he was talking about language, where war used to be called war. Now it's called a conflict. So there's all these different ways that things are like, they take away meaning from things and they dull everything. And I think even just something as simple as bodybuilding or athletics, they've become more dull. Everything has become more dull.
I can guarantee Leroy, I'm going to get shown it. Has Leroy got his UK flag, Union Jack cushion there behind you, Leroy? Are you sitting on that?
They've come off for Christmas. I've got my Christmas one, look.
All right, well, you usually got a UK flag. You usually got a Union Jack, haven't you? Yeah?
Everyone's just, he's right there. Everyone's diluting, especially over here. We're all scared to offend and upset people. You know, millions of people have fought for our fucking freedom of speech and our forethought, and you know, we're being gagged everywhere. We can't say this. We got to think and lay out our sentence before we say it. It's a load of bollocks. And we're getting worse, unfortunately. So yeah, he's right. They're diluting. We don't know. We're not educated enough over here because we don't know the definitions of. You know, like you said, if you want to be a man, you're too masculine. If you don't like somebody because they've done you wrong, straight away they look at the colour of that person, and it's not the fact that they've done you wrong, it's the colour of their skin that is the reason why you don't like them. We just haven't got the definition. We just don't know the definitions of. We think we do, and we've got people sat in a fucking office somewhere who are making decisions for us and our kids and our grandkids, because our language is changing. and it's changing dramatically. Well, we can't say this, we can't say that. It's fucking, we're being gagged, and you know, it's sad. The people who have fought and died for our freedom of speech, I do hope return in their graves and come back and haunt on the bastards. There you go, I'm off 9 spots now.
Yeah, just for next time, gents, if you can see, you have to put your pronouns into Zoom now. So just for next
But
time.
I think really what's at the heart of all this is passion. And the more passionate you are about things, anything in life, everything in life, the better things are. And I think when you look at the difference in the sport 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I think a lot of it is just the passion that was felt. I think the people that, you know, were competitors in the 80s, the 90s, or even the early 2000s, they made it more of their life. They fully immersed themselves in it. They were much more passionate about it. And I think because of that, the sport was better. But I think that's anything in life. So I think it's just a matter of passion.
Yeah. I mean, I was a teacher for 10 years, and I think that we are in a stage of lethargy. And I think it is built on just fear of, like, because obviously if you're really into something, someone's going to think it's shit, and and we're not prepared enough to defend things. Everyone's scared to be into something. So if we're just not really into anything, then we take no risks. We don't offend anyone. But we also get fucking nowhere. And bodybuilding is obviously the one thing where you've got to be pretty fucking extreme to get anywhere, unless you're a genetic god. But yeah, I completely agree with your answer. Good answer. I would have fucked that right up.
So basically, our shit society's crossing over into the bodybuilding world as well, really, isn't it? That's what we're kind of...
I think it's right. I think it isn't. I think there's probably a podcast about, I don't know, dolphin juggling or whatever, and they're having the same conversation. It's probably not just our little world it's affecting.
You gents have time for a couple more, gents, or we've kept it quite a while now. Let's
bring it.
Oh, Jose, you are usually shredded as fuck. I'll see you soon, brother. That's from Revy. Oh, Jose, this is the one from one of your guys you sent me, because a lot of guys send the questions in the DM, don't they, rather than put them on the page. So let me have a look here. Oh, actually, Jose, one of your guys says, if someone was truly out of shape and they were getting ready for a contest, ready to step on stage, would you tell them, asking for a friend? So I'm guessing that's one of your clients.
Yeah. Yes.
I know you would straight away. I have. You shit. Yeah. You're not competing. You shit.
Yeah. You know, because sometimes a local guy will win a local show. And he's like, yeah, we're heading to nationals. I'm like, no way, bro. I'm like, you won a local show, but you'll be lucky to crack top 15 at nationals. And it's just a different ball game. They don't realize it until they go and get absolutely smoked, that they just spent thousands of dollars on flights, hotels, registration, missing work. It's literally thousands of dollars to go get spanked. And I got to be honest with them up front. I'm like, you know, you need another year, another 2 years, another couple of years to grow and put on some actual muscle. You know, winning a local show is very different than going against the best in the country. So yeah, you got to be honest with people. I'm, you know, that's my job. I may be a little hard, huh?
I'm sure Mr. Davis has got an opinion on this one.
Yeah, Jose's right. Well, unfortunately, Jose, a lot of people can't take the truth, can they? They want to have on their asses. So what they'll do is they'll take your comments, and this is not all of them, but some of them will actually take your comments, turn around and say "fuck you," and they'll go and speak to somebody who's going to blow smoke. Yeah, you look good. Give me $5,000 and I'll get you ready. Oh yeah, you definitely crap. Yeah, never mind what Jose says. I'll get you ready, and they'll believe him. You know, because they've got that attitude of there's an easier way. Someone's got an easier way, you know, and I'll find that easy way, regardless of what it costs me and whatever. So yeah, you are right, mate. But sometimes the truth hurts, and a lot of, especially the generations now, they can't take no. If you say no to them, it's a fucking alien word to them nowadays, because they're given everything. I mean, even my sons have grown up with everything. So, because when we were kids, we had nothing. So we decided to give our kids everything. So when you say no to them now, it's an alien word. They look at you if you just killed a nan, buried her, dug her up and killed her again. You know, it's that bad.
Yeah. Better
How
to be
did
honest
the
and let
emoji
somebody
come
embarrass
up?
themselves. Yeah, I know. As soon as Leroy was saying, I was like, yes, but that wasn't me. So this is from your friend. This is from your friend in Japan, Jose. I guess this can go to both of you guys because you both come from both a kind of crossover of eras. What era would you have almost enjoyed competing in, and why?
Well, I would say the 90s, you know, with Dorian. I mean, the names in the Dorian, Flex Wheeler, Sean Ray, Chris Cormier, Ronnie Coleman. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on and on. I mean, that was clearly the best generation of bodybuilding ever. And, you know, if you could stand out in that crowd, then that's a very special thing. Yeah, that was the greatest. Maybe that's just my opinion, but I'm pretty sure everyone else would agree.
Yeah, I mean,
Kevin?
yeah, I mean, there's no topping the 90s. It was no doubt the coolest era. And you know, for me, again, kind of going back to the late 80s, the 90s, just where we were, just as a country, just the overall vibe. I mean, I remember in the early 90s, you know, the 5-liter Mustangs were a big deal. And you know, maybe that was a $18,000 car back then. And if you were out and you were in one and you were driving down the street, people would give you a thumbs up. They would say, "Hey man, cool car." Nowadays, you could have $100,000 car and nobody cares. So I mean, my point being, it was a more fun time. It wasn't all about maybe how much money you had or status. It felt like everybody was just having more fun. And when I look at bodybuilding in the late 80s and in the 90s, that's the way that it appears to me, is just more fun. And just a better time. And so if I could be a part of it in any era, that would be it for me as well.
Yeah, people just seem to be enjoying bodybuilding for what it was, weren't they? Without all the technical kind of craziness that kind of goes on now. It's just all kind of like, I can't even explain what it is now. I know it's just different. I'm not saying it's bad or anything, but it is just different. I would 100% choose the 90s. That was kind of when I was getting into bodybuilding and stuff, and everything just seems to be overthought and kind of overcomplicated now. We see this every time we're on this podcast, and this is why we want guys like yourselves on here. Just yeah.
How about the pro cards? I can't tell you how many people reach out to me a week, and they're like, I just want to get my pro card, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, you haven't even competed yet. You want a pro card? Like, what?
Yeah, that's the difference, isn't it? Because not like when sorry, it sounds like 1,000 years old, but when we started the gym because we like to go to the gym, and then that kind of progressed on. When now you've got guys who don't even train, start the gym to turn pro. Like, did you even think about that? You just, oh, this is cool. Let's do some curls and some bench press. And you didn't start the gym with all of these aspirations of like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just, yeah, people are getting stressed out because they haven't turned pro in like 12 months. Like, it took me about 50 years.
I think a lot of that is, you know, you're speaking to the fact that social media was not a part of things back then, and people were allowed to just be in the moment and enjoy things. And now there's no enjoyment of those things. There's just enjoyment of the end result. Because in their mind, it's going to be something that's going to bring them attention or, you know, fame on social media. Whereas, like you said, we started working out because we wanted to. And people now, I think they're just, how many times do you see a scene where somebody could be, whether they're at a gym or they're at a concert, and they have phones. Everything is just the phone. Are you even absorbing the moment? Are you even enjoying it? We're in a really weird time.
Yeah, that's one thing that always gets me is like, rather than you actually absorbing what's actually happening, all you want is someone to recognize that you're there not enjoying it. That's always been totally mental to me. Wherever you are or whatever, like, you've missed out to show someone else that you were supposed to be missing in. Like, it is totally fucking alien. But then we all did, like, I guess, like, the, you know, the finding yourself years, like teenage stuff, and it didn't exist. Like, now it's like in like primary schools they're talking about Instagram and shit. It's like part of like life. It's like, it must be fucking weird as fuck to like have that alongside your life, rather than we're like, oh, here's my life, and then there's this fucking app that's annoying. Like, it's an addition that happened afterwards. It's like a real thing now. It's like, it is madness.
Yeah, when everyone talks about the phone thing and everything, I mean, again, Leroy's coming at the weekend to train. You know, I'll grab some videos and stuff, but honestly, I couldn't give a shit about video and stuff. But I know a lot of people get a lot of enjoyment from it and they feel motivated by it and all that kind of stuff. But if it kind of ruined my training, I just wouldn't do it. I see guys now, they're literally setting up a tripod for like 20 minutes. I say, it's got to take away some of the fun on, unless that's the fun they get from. I struggle to understand the kind of the way it is now, which is, you know, I have a big kind of, I wouldn't say commercial gym. It's not a commercial gym, but we have, you know, a lot of kind of new age trainers in there. And I do sometimes look around. I don't, you know, give my opinion or anything. That's if as long as they're enjoying themselves. But I do struggle to understand like what it's all about. And, you know, like, yes, it's weird times. I mean, we've said this before, Leroy. We only really do videos just to have a look back when we're old and smashed up. They're cool to look back on. That's the only kind of good thing I see about them. And again, when we get a message saying, oh yeah, I watched that video of you training legs, I didn't want to go to the gym and I watched it. I went to the gym and had an awesome workout. Yeah, we're not influencers or anything. I really was. We just.
I know, far from it. Far from it. Yeah. The thing, I mean, I was saying, everyone touched on it earlier. Reference to phones and I mean, the 90s, the training was totally different. The way the approach to training, the thought of training was totally different than it is nowadays. I mean, you've never seen somebody load 5 plates on a Smith machine, whack out 10, 15, 20 reps, and then rack it, and then run to a bench, get his phone out, and fucking tell the whole world what a set he's done. You know, because after 15, 20 reps, you got no air in your lungs, you're fucked, your hands are shaking all over the place. There's no way you can use your phone. So again, you look around the gym and you see these people sat on benches that all want to fucking use, but they're sat on them, talking to all their so-called fans that they've brought, spent 30 grand on 30 fucking followers that they've never met or spoken to before. But they're sat telling these people what a hard session they're having and how many reps they've had. And yeah, it's a total contrast from like when I was training in the gym at all. And it is hard to get to, and I do appreciate that he has got his place. You know, the media has got his place in today's bodybuilding world, stroke fitness world. But it has got his place, but there should be a place in the gym where it should be or should not be.
Yeah, because you've seen kind of both sides, haven't you? Obviously, Temple Gym, like 90s era, and then obviously you've trained at my place, Ultraflex. Don't get me wrong, it's still a great atmosphere in the gym, and we still got lots of guys training hard, but it is just a different time now. I'm not.
I think it's a lot of training. It's when you're walking from machine to machine, you notice it, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm still old. I still try. You know, I walk around with blinkers on. Years ago, I used to wear a hat so people couldn't see your eyes. You know, if they didn't see your eyes, you were looking at them. But yeah, it's changed. It's to me, it feels awkward and strange. I mean, to you guys, it's probably half and half.
Do you still wear your earphones, Jose, with no music on? Just so people don't talk to you. Now everybody's going to talk to you now, either, because they know you've got no music on them. So we'll have to put this clip out there. If you want to speak to Jose, he hasn't really got any music on. It's just he's being unsociable.
I just try not to make eye contact with anyone.
Yeah, I usually like this.
I do all.
It's just my 1 hour of just personal time. It's I don't think that's rude at all to you guys. But I saw this on another podcast a couple of days ago where, like, back then it was just kind of code that you didn't interrupt anybody while they were training, but now it's like they'll tap you on the shoulder when you're just about to do a set of 6-plate squats or something. It's just weird now. Yeah, it is strange.
I mean, it's like go back and watch Rocky 3 when he's getting ready to fight Clubber Lang, but like he's not really focusing on his training, and you know, the media's there and the camera's there and the reporters are there, and he's distracted by all that stuff. And Mick is trying to get him to focus on actual training and fighting because he's telling him he's going to get his ass kicked by this guy. People now, rather than being preoccupied with actually doing, they're more preoccupied with trying to convince everybody else that they're doing.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies I ever, Club of Lang, Rocky 3.
Yeah, good stuff.
Dan, do you want to finish with one more question, and we'll let these gents?
Well, I was just going to say, like, that Leroy was an influencer through Blood and Guts, accidentally, and that was one of the things. It's even my screensaver, the hack squat that Dorian's doing. It's not my wife. It's a freeze frame from Blood and Guts. So that was my influence. I probably watched that more times than anything else in the whole world. I have got another question that's kind of a little bit more like the ones that we've asked. Is we've got most underrated and most overrated exercise, which is a fairly quick round, I suppose. What do you reckon's missing?
I can start. It's that fucking one where you stand with the cables and you pull it.
The face pull.
You pull it with your forearms and biceps. You get people who are training the back.
Yeah, the re-adult one. Yeah,
I will tell you the most overrated bullshit poser exercise.
Please tell me which one it is, Evan. Please get this one.
When people take cables, like the cable crossover, and they do.
I thought you were going to do this one. I thought you were going to go with the slow pull down one. Never mind. Shit, I better not say anything because I did some of those the other day just with one arm, but because I've got a gammy arm though, so I was just trying to stimulate somebody else. I'll never ever do them again, Evan. Sorry. Come on, Jose. Most overrated and most underrated.
Any forearm exercise. I've never done a forearm exercise in my life. I mean, if you lift weights, your forearms are going to grow.
Yeah,
I mean,
fair play.
almost every exercise you do, you rely on your forearms. So to sit there and do little wrist curls, I could never understand that. Underrated would be a deadlift. I don't see enough people deadlifting. Oh, I have a bad back. No shit, because you don't deadlift. You know, if you could do it properly with lightweight and slowly get stronger, everyone can do a deadlift. And it works every part of your body. It is by far the most underrated exercise and underutilized.
And definitely great forearms.
Funny you should mention that because I've kind of got some back issues now, and my posterior chain is weak as shit at the moment because I haven't been heavy squatting and deadlifting. So, you know, I've got some neck problems, but I am going to put some deadlifts back in. Maybe not as heavy as they used to be, but yeah, I definitely agree on that one. People tend to have a bad back because they're not using that posterior chain, and we just sit around a lot nowadays, don't we? We have a weak core and weak lower back and stuff.
For me, for underrated, I'm going to say flat bench press. I love flat barbell bench. And everybody I talk to, oh, you're going to injure yourself. Stay away from it. It's no good. Da 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 da. I don't know. I like flat barbell bench press. I like incline barbell too, but I like just a good old bench press.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it is one of those things where if someone's torn their pec, you don't actually need to ask how. That's just the only thing that scares. I've got torn pec. Well, we kind of know how that happened, but yeah, I always loved benching. What's yours, Anth?
I actually tore my pec incline benching down. It wasn't bench press.
Did you? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, incline Smith. What's my most underrated exercise? Probably barbell squat, because again, it's kind of frowned upon now. It's like, oh, it's bad for your back. You've got much better options, leg press, you know, hack squat, which are all great movements. But again, putting a barbell on your back, you even use your forearms to some degree. You just use everything to stabilize that weight, using lower back, hips, obviously quads and stuff. If you're going a bit of glute and ham, if you're going deep enough, I don't see a lot of people free bar squatting anymore. Overrated, I think, you know, they deal with that kind of, not the actual movement, just the pull down with one arm where you zero poundage on there, just 15 sets of like whatever you're doing, like squeezing and contracting fresh air. That one, I kind of got a bit of a pet peeve with that one, but I just don't see anybody with a very good back doing it. I don't really see anybody getting results from it. So
you'll never see anybody who build a back doing it.
Yeah, we know your opinion on that one. So
the thing is, though, most of the exercises we just picked there as underrated, we all done them when we first started training. We all used them because they were the basics, and they'll never go away. Yeah, when we get older and we sort of get injuries, then we sort of seem to shy away from them. But we all done them. We've all started. We all started benching. We all started squatting, and we all started doing deadlifts when we first hit the gym. So they'll never go away.
I think that should be the starting point for everything. And like you said, like Jose said, the systemic like way that you're hitting all the different muscle groups is perfect for a beginner. And squatting, you could do that multiple times a week because you don't have enough muscle mass to need more recovery. Why wouldn't you train more of your body in one go? It makes no sense to start isolating the top of your chest when you don't have a fucking chest. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I think that's it. You're going, and people are trying to look at really advanced techniques for a very underdeveloped physique, and you're just stalling. You're just wasting fucking time. They might find a time where, yeah, okay, you did loads of squats and your legs didn't really grow that well. Well, you know, maybe in a couple of years, it's going to take you a while to figure out that that's not happened. But if you can grow from that, you just fucking do it. It makes absolutely no sense. The one thing I wanted to not necessarily ask Evan about, but maybe re-highlight the video was you making the squat rack with your dad. And I don't know why that was so like moving for me. Probably because it's not what my dad would have done at all, because there's no cocaine involved. But like, because you made your whole gym, didn't you? And then you made the squat rack. Was it something you planned to do with your dad to build the whole gym, or?
So the way that it started out, Animal had asked me, they said, you know, do you have a gym in your basement? And I said, no, I have nothing here. And they said, you know, if we were to share the cost with you of you know, getting a rack, would you film some things at home? And I said, sure. And I said, but maybe instead of doing that, it would be maybe more interesting and it'd be more fun. Why don't we just build something rather than buy it? So instead of them paying for the squat rack, we actually split the cost of a welder, and we made the rack. And I figured it would be just an opportunity to do something cool. And you know, when you think back to the earlier days of bodybuilding, a lot of the guys who were bodybuilders, it wasn't uncommon for them to make equipment or modify equipment or partake in the sport in different ways. And now I think a lot of things are so isolated. I don't know. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but for me as a bodybuilder, I really enjoy the sport and I enjoy all parts of it. I love equipment. I would love to actually start a gym and make a lot of the equipment myself. I don't know, there's just more something there. And of course, it was an opportunity to, you know, spend some time with my father as well.
Yeah, I really like that. For those who haven't watched it, you should watch it. I definitely watched it more than once over lockdown because I was like, how the fuck do I make a squat rack out of a kettle? I
guess the point being too, like, there's if you owned a piece of equipment, there's nothing wrong with you saying, you know, something, I belong to a gym, but if I had some equipment at my house, maybe that would help. So then you buy some equipment, but then maybe you realize, you know something, this piece of equipment would be even better if, and you make a decision to modify it. These are all examples of taking things into your own hands where, you know, people sometimes forget you have the ability to, I don't know, take hold of things to a greater extent. You know, you don't have to just settle for what's being offered. You know, you can decide as well.
Yeah, I would have took the lazy route, Evan, and just bought an animal just buy my whole gym. I'm hopeless at making anything, so yeah, that's pretty cool. To be fair, that is really cool.
It was a cool video. I did like that a lot.
Dan, I want to see you now. Since you asked that question, I want to see you building a Mark 1 Cybex hack squat in
Really?
the back garden, because you need to bring the legs up. So
And a Lego.
Out of Lego. I'm banned from making anything. I live in my the house that my father-in-law built for us, and I'm not allowed to touch anything because I tried to fix a few things a couple of times, and needless to say, a new boiler was bought, and I ripped the door clean off the hinges trying to fix the lock. So I'm banned from making anything. So that's not gonna happen. Sorry.
I've tried that myself, but Mandy knows I'm faking, you see. So she knows.
No, you're good at DIY, Leo. You pretty much built your man cave that you're in now, aren't you? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm good. I'm okay with tools. I'm okay with tools.
On the tools, Leroy.
Okay. I've got a note from my mum. I can use tools.
Sorry, one more question, quick fire round before we let you go. Would be any advice to someone starting out?
Any advice?
So we'll do Jose first because he's been a bit quiet for a minute.
Just get moving. That's the key. Get moving, get started, be consistent, and be patient. You know, not patient in the sense of being lazy, because I think the sense of urgency to all of us is what gave us the drive to want to be better and bigger and stronger. But it definitely doesn't happen overnight. So there is a certain amount of patience and consistency involved, and just train hard. You know, make it so you can't breathe. You're out of breath. You're sore. You're tired. It's not like going out and golfing or playing tennis. It's a lot more intense. That's it, and enjoy it.
Yeah, man. Evan?
I liked what you said before. You said you see a lot of advanced techniques for underdeveloped physiques. That was a really good way to put it. And I think the best advice I could give to somebody who's just starting out is master the most basic things. I would tell somebody, if you can't effectively hit a body part using a barbell or some dumbbells, certainly don't start using these machines and all this other crap. If you can master the bench, squat, deadlift, and then go on from there, you will be much, much better off. I mean, I started off in a basement. I didn't have a lot of equipment. And when I first joined a gym, I saw all the bad habits that people had because they could rely on machines and they didn't have to master just fundamental movements. I think if you can do that, you'll be really, really much better off in the long run. And like Jose said, the main thing with this sport to be successful at it is to make your peace with discomfort. When you're out of breath, when things hurt, when your body is saying stop, and you have the ability to continue on, that's really all it takes to make progress. It's really as simple as that. And people will become wrapped up in all these advanced techniques and nuanced exercises, and you don't really need any of it. All you need to do, I mean, you could make a workout out of one exercise if you wanted to, if you do it hard enough and you push yourself far enough. So just really keep it simple.
I like it. And Leroy, actually, we probably haven't had the answer to this from you.
Evan just said it, KISS. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, and there's no shortcuts.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. I think we know Anth already. But do you want to elaborate?
On the same page.
We're on the same page.
Just keep it simple. It's just work over time, isn't it? A lot of the guys nowadays are really wanting some, unless you're some genetic phenomenon, it really isn't going to happen quickly. You just got to progressively get stronger on the basic stuff, and just don't get too caught. I'm not against all the, I wouldn't have purchased a gym with Charlie with like a crazy amount of equipment in there, like machines and stuff. They all have their place. It's just when some guy is full workout is like cable work, like there's so much more you can benefit from just picking up a free weight and moving around and challenging yourself, rather than think nowadays guys choose machines because they're easier, and that's pretty much where they're going wrong. Just choose the hard stuff basically. And what Jose said, be patient. We better let Jose go because he's going to go fall asleep. So thanks, gents. The
2-second question is: who would win in a drinking contest, Evan or Jose? And has it happened?
Evan doesn't drink
at all.
He says beers are for pussies.
Actually, I do want to ask one quick question before going. It's very quick fire. The new guy, NECKZILLA, Rubiel, where will he place? Because he's going to get to the Olympia. There's no doubt he's going to get there, isn't it, really? So where's he going to place at the Olympia? His first Olympia. Come 10. On, Jose, not too much thinking. 10th? Oh, that's brutal.
Okay.
Call me as hyping him up big time.
I was going to say 7th or 8th. That's just the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's going to be outside the top 5, but 7, 8, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of balance to work on. And his legs are bigger than his shoulders, bigger than his, wider than his lats.
It just looks wrong at the moment. I don't know why. I can't even know. It looks like something genetically has gone wrong. I don't know if you can balance that out.
So myself and Evan said 7, 8. Jose said 15th. So we'll remember that when.
I think he'll make top 10 just because he's a freak.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a freak.
Extremely impressive, but doesn't look correct.
Yeah. Do you know who we're talking about, Leroy? The new.
Yeah. I'm thinking 8th place as well. But he needs to do his first Olympia, get a place in, and then go away with somebody that knows and just try and reshape him a bit. It's not going to happen overnight, but just try and reshape a few things.
Yeah, maybe train legs for a year.
Where's he going to place, Dan? We need to remember this.
Yeah, I'll put him at 9th just to be between. Just to be, but he needs to stop training some stuff and train some other. He's not lacking in some areas. But anyway, that's time, and thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, gents. Much appreciated.
Pleasure.
Thanks for having us, guys.
And as for you two, Leroy and Anth, get on the Instagram for the session tomorrow.
On the gram. We might just forget. Well, thanks again, gents, and all the best for 2024. Jose, we need to get you back to the UK. Evan, we need to get. Actually, I didn't think you've been to the UK, to be honest. We have Ultraflex Open contest back because you remember you guest posed at the Maxwell Open, didn't you, before? So maybe you could do a comeback, Jose, and do a guest spot. You never know.
All right, let me know. I'll be there.
Or you can come and just get drunk. Either one. It was good fun anyway.
Yeah. So. We can do both.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I'm good at both.
All right, thanks very much, gents.
Happy New Year to all. Big love.
Happy New Year. And see you soon.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Stay safe.
Thanks, gents.